Have you ever been curious about the journey behind large-scale harvests? Behind what seems like a familiar farming routine lies a carefully calculated process. From fields stretching across hundreds of acres to the application of modern technology, they all contribute to the quality of the produce you see every day. In this video, we'll explore 30 of the most impressive fruit and vegetable harvests from around the world, where scale, speed and technique come together to create truly remarkable moments. One striking example is the strawberry harvest in California. This supplies over 80% of the nation's strawberries, with production exceeding 1.1 million tonnes per year. Despite the massive scale, strawberries are still picked entirely by hand. On average, each worker can harvest around 44 to 55 pounds per hour, a task that requires both precision and endurance. In contrast, industrial tomato fields rely heavily on machinery. Massive harvesting machines can process up to 55 tonnes of tomatoes per hour. They cut entire plants, separate the fruit, and sort it by colour and size in just seconds. This significantly reduces labour costs while maximising efficiency. In Ecuador, banana bunches weighing between 44 and 110 pounds are cut down and quickly hooked onto cable systems that run throughout the plantation. These systems transport the bananas from the field to the packing area within minutes, minimizing damage and reducing labor. It's a great example of combining manual work with simple yet effective technology. In the US, one of the world's leading apple producers, with an annual output of around 4.4 to 5.5 million tonnes, apples are still primarily harvested by hand to ensure quality and prevent bruising. Afterwards, they are sorted using modern systems based on size, colour and quality before reaching the market. The vineyards of France are also well worth mentioning, producing some of the world's most famous wines. The grape harvest season typically lasts only 2 to 3 weeks, and timing is critical. Each acre can yield around 2.5 to 4 tonnes of grapes, but quality remains the most important factor, determining the final flavour of the wine. Olive harvesting in Mediterranean countries like Spain, Italy and Greece is equally impressive. Modern farms use machines that move along rows of trees, with hundreds of vibrating rods shaking the fruit loose. Olives fall directly into parallel moving collection vehicles or into pre-laid nets, allowing for quick gathering and minimal loss. On average, each tree yields around 44 to 110 pounds of olives. In Germany, potato harvesting is almost fully mechanized. Machines can process around 5 to 7 acres a day, equivalent to roughly 66 to 88 tons of potatoes. The potatoes are cleaned and loaded directly onto trucks, minimizing time and labor. In India, where over 27 million tonnes of mangoes are produced annually, farmers use harvesting tools fitted with net bags to catch the fruit, preventing bruising and ensuring quality. Large-scale carrot fields are equally impressive. Harvesting machines can process tens of thousands of carrots per hour while trimming the tops right in the field, saving time and labour costs. In the Philippines, pineapple harvesting demands incredible stamina. A worker can harvest between 1,000 and 1,500 fruits a day, each weighing around 3.3 to 5.5 pounds. It's a heavy workload performed at remarkable speed. Some vegetables also stand out due to their massive size. For example, a single cabbage can weigh up to 22 pounds. Pumpkin fields in the US can produce fruit weighing over 220 pounds. Truly astonishing. Furthermore, harvesting broccoli is also a rather impressive process in agriculture. When the florets reach the standard size, farmers use knives to cut them loose close to the base, preserving the firm and fresh head. Each plant is usually harvested only once, with an average weight of 0.5 to 1 kilogram. This process must be done quickly to ensure the florets do not bloom, maintaining the best quality before being brought to market. Dragon fruit in Vietnam has a unique characteristic. It is often harvested at night. The orchards are brightly lit, creating a very distinctive scene. Average yields reach 20 to 25 tons per hectare per season, contributing to Vietnam's position as one of the world's leading dragon fruit exporting countries. In Brazil, orange harvesting takes place across vast fields on an enormous scale. Workers pick the fruit by hand to maintain quality and avoid damaging the peel. The oranges are then quickly gathered into large containers and transported to processing plants. With over 18 million tonnes produced annually, most are used for juice exports. Sugarcane is another major crop there. Modern machines can cut, clean and chop sugarcane directly in the field at high speed, achieving yields around 27 to 45 tonnes per acre. The harvested cane is loaded into long train cars and transported by specialised rail systems running throughout the fields. Meanwhile, modern farms present a completely different picture. Lettuce grown in greenhouses can be harvested and packaged entirely automatically, with capacities reaching up to 30,000 plants per day. Technology has greatly reduced reliance on manual labour. In Canada, blueberry harvesting has become faster than ever, thanks to vibrating machines that can collect up to 90% of the fruit in just seconds. In the Netherlands, onions are harvested with yields ranging from 60 to 80 tonnes per hectare. Thanks to the application of modern technology, the loss rate is reduced to below 5%, a very impressive figure in the agricultural industry. In Mexico, chili peppers are still harvested by hand to ensure quality. Each worker can collect around 33 to 44 pounds per day, requiring patience and precision. In Turkey, each pomegranate tree can produce between 50 and 100 fruits, each weighing about 0.7 to 1.1 pounds. Harvesting must be done carefully to avoid cracking the skin. In Peru, asparagus highlights the demanding nature of agriculture. It grows very quickly and must be harvested daily throughout the 2 to 3 month season. In Thailand, coconuts are harvested using various methods, primarily employing tools to cut the fruit from a height. Depending on the variety and care, each coconut tree can yield an average of 50 to 100 coconuts per year, or even more in well-managed orchards. Mexico is also the world's leading avocado producer, with over 2.2 million tons annually, more than 30% of global output. Its vast avocado orchards showcase the massive scale of production. In Australia, cherries are mostly harvested by hand to maintain quality, with each tree yielding around 44 to 110 pounds per season. After picking, the fruit is cooled and sorted using modern systems before distribution. Each year, Australia produces around 22,000 to 27,000 tonnes of cherries, with 30 to 40% exported to Asian markets. Harvesting spinach is a prime example of modern agriculture, where machinery can cut the leaves close to the root and gather them up quickly. This vegetable has a very short growth cycle, only around 30 to 40 days until harvest, with an average yield of around 20 to 30 tonnes per hectare. Thanks to machinery, large quantities can be processed quickly, significantly saving labour costs. For sweet corn, specialised harvesting machines can cut multiple rows at once and separate the ears right in the field. The average yield of sweet corn is usually between 10 and 15 tonnes per hectare, and one machine can process tens of tonnes per hour. This allows for a fast harvesting process, ensuring freshness for consumption or processing. Outdoor cantaloupe farming depends heavily on weather and soil conditions. Each fruit typically weighs 3.3 to 6.6 pounds, with yields of around 8 to 12 tonnes per acre. Harvesting is mainly done by hand, based on ripeness indicators to ensure quality. Durian harvesting in Southeast Asia presents a unique challenge. Weighing 4.4 to 8.8 pounds and covered in sharp spikes, this fruit requires careful handling. High-tech mushroom farms can produce thousands of tonnes annually in fully controlled environments. Meanwhile, sugar beets in Europe yield around 28 to 36 tonnes per acre, mainly for sugar production. Finally, hydroponic farming models point to the future of agriculture. Even on small areas, these systems can produce around 660 to 1,100 pounds of vegetables per day thanks to optimised processes and advanced technology. From vast open fields to cutting-edge farms, these harvests are more than just agricultural work. They are a testament to human progress, adaptability, and innovation. And perhaps, after seeing what goes on behind the scenes, we'll appreciate even more the food we enjoy every day. Watermelon is one of the most popular fruits in the world, with consumption reaching up to 104 million tonnes. Behind that enormous figure are fields where the harvest season runs almost without pause. Under the blazing sun, farmers walk between rows of melons, selecting ripe ones and cutting the stems. Then the melons are passed hand to hand amongst the workers, each fruit lifted one by one onto the trunk, where someone stands ready to catch and neatly stack them in layers. In recent years, many farms have begun using mobile conveyor belts. Pickers simply place the melons on the belt and it automatically carries them up to the trunk. Thanks to this, the harvesting process becomes faster and more efficient. From afar, this giant machine looks as if it's devouring the entire cucumber field. At the front, the system pulls in all the vines and lush green cucumbers. In just seconds, the cucumbers are separated from the plant and immediately pass through an onboard cleaning system, before going into the storage compartment. Afterwards, continuous streams of cucumbers are transferred to large containers running parallel across the field, creating an almost non-stop harvesting line. Thanks to such modern machines, global cucumber production is projected to reach around 100 million tonnes by 2026. The next location is the vast maple forests, where people collect tree sap to make maple syrup. The harvest season typically begins from mid-February to mid-March. During this precious window, farmers drill a small hole in the maple tree trunk to a depth of around 1.5 to 2 inches. Then they attach a small spout to the hole and hang a bucket to catch the clear sap flowing from the tree. Each such tap can yield 5 to 15 gallons per sap per season. Since most of it is water, the sap must be boiled for hours to evaporate the water, and it takes around 43 gallons of sap to produce just 1 gallon of concentrated maple syrup. Amidst the dense green canopy in American mandarin orchards, shiny, plump mandarins gradually appear, signaling the start of the harvest season. Mandarin pickers move quickly along the rows of trees, their hands working almost non-stop. They select the best fruits, gently twist them off the branch, or use clippers to cut the stem. Then they drop the picked mandarins into baskets worn at their sides. When the basket is full, it's carried to a collection point in the orchard and emptied into large bins, ready for the next transport step. Behind this rapid harvesting rhythm are thousands of migrant workers. They are often paid around $50 per bin of mandarins. The more they pick, the higher their earnings. The next product is honey. To access the full honeycombs, beekeepers must first use a smoker to gently blow smoke, encouraging the bees to leave the frames. Once the hive is calmer, they carefully remove each wooden frame filled with honey, avoiding damage to the wax structure. Next, the honey frames are placed into a centrifuge, where strong spinning forces separate the honey from the wax. Streams of golden, thick honey float downward. Then they are filtered through sieves to remove impurities before bottling. Thanks to this process, honey from these tiny hives has become a global industry, with the market of 2025 valued at around $9.92 billion. Also in 2025, global cabbage production reached nearly 80 million tonnes. To harvest that enormous volume, many modern farms rely on machines that operate almost without stopping. As fast as it moves, the cutting blade at the front severs the cabbage at ground level. Immediately after, fast clamping conveyors lift each cabbage plant out of the soil and feed it into the machine's body. As the cabbage passes through the processing system, outer old leaves are stripped by rotating rollers and pushed back onto the field. The cleaner cabbage continues up an incline conveyor. From there, it is transferred directly into large containers. Apple cider production today has also been mechanized. The UK is currently the world's largest cider market, with more than 450 producers operating daily. In the orchard, the mechanical arm of the tree shaker grips the trunk tightly and creates strong vibrations. In just seconds, numerous ripe apples drop to the ground. Immediately after, the apple harvester moves along the rows. The front component sweeps and collects the apples on the ground, feeding them into the machine. Here, the apples go through a cleaning conveyor to remove excess leaves and branches, before the apples are finally transferred into large bins for transport to the processing facility. Dragon fruit is now a globally favoured fruit, with a market worth of around $680 million. This is largely thanks to its health benefits and rising demand for tropical fruits. To harvest them, farmers go to the orchard early in the morning or in the cool afternoon, when the sun is not too harsh, to prevent the fruit from losing water quickly. They use clippers to gently cut the stem of each ripe red dragon fruit, handling carefully to avoid breaking the fruit's distinctive ears. Each fruit after picking is placed directly into a basket, neatly arranged to avoid bruising. When the basket is full, it is moved to a shaded area by the field, waiting for buyers to collect and bring the fresh, delicious dragon fruit to market. Meanwhile, some crops are grown in enclosed rooms, such as mushrooms. Inside mushroom houses, long shelves are filled with substrate bags. After a period of cultivation, dense clusters of white mushrooms begin to emerge. When harvest day arrives, the work proceeds quite quickly. Workers simply gently remove each cluster of mushrooms from the substrate bag and carefully handle them to preserve shape and freshness. Immediately after, the mushrooms are transferred directly to the processing area in the facility, where they are cleaned, sorted, packaged, and sold to the market. In the past year, global mushroom consumption has reached over 19 million tonnes. In the vibrant tulip fields of the Netherlands, there's a rather surprising sight. Hundreds of beautiful flowers are cut off in just a few minutes. Sharp blades at the front of the machine glide across the field, cutting off all of the flower tops. This may sound wasteful, but in reality, it helps the plant to channel all of its energy into the most important part, the bulb underground. By summer, digging machines begin operating. They lift the tulip bulbs from the soil, collect them and take them for sorting. These flower bulbs are then stored and prepared for the next planting season in autumn. Thanks to this process, the Netherlands currently supplies around 60 to 90% of the world's tulip bulbs. Our next location is the garlic fields of China. This country produces more than 70% of the world's garlic. Behind that huge figure are thousands of hours of operation by millions of harvesting machines. When the machine operates, a small plough runs underground to loosen the soil around the garlic roots and sever the side roots. Immediately after, they are clamped by conveyors to a shaking system to shake off the excess soil clinging to the bulbs. Next, the garlic passes through a cutting system, where the upper leaves are neatly trimmed. Finally, the clean bulbs are transferred directly into large containers, ready for processing. Besides garlic, lettuce is also a popular vegetable worldwide, grown in more than 106 countries. In the fields, the harvest proceeds at a very fast pace. Workers bend down to neatly cut off each head of lettuce, then place them directly onto a conveyor belt, moving slowly between the rows. From there, the lettuce heads continue drifting along the line. Other workers stationed along the conveyor quickly sort and arrange them neatly. In just a few minutes, the lettuce is packaged right in the field. Today's farmers also use machines to harvest sunflower seeds. But before the machines work, they must wait until the flower heads are fully ripe and dry. One flower can contain up to 500 seeds. When the flowers are dry, the harvester begins operating. At the front are specialized cutting heads with 8 parallel rows, gliding lightly over the chest-high flower rows. In just seconds, the seed-filled flower heads are neatly cut and fed into the machine. Here, the sunflower seeds are separated from the head and then quickly flow into the transport system. Finally, all the seeds are delivered to large capacity containers. The next product is spinach. Each year, the world produces around 34 million tons of spinach. In the fields, the harvest begins when specialized machines enter the rows. At the front of the machine is a wide cutting blade placed close to the ground, cleanly cutting the green leaves just above the root. This cutting method allows a quick harvest without bruising or collecting too much soil and sand. Right after cutting, the spinach slides onto the conveyor system mounted on the machine. From here, a strong airflow blows the spinach through the discharge tube, pushing it to the rear container. In the world's total vegetable production, sweet potatoes account for a significant portion. Each year, the world produces more than 100 million tons of sweet potatoes. To meet market demand, many large farm owners have switched from using harvesting machines. This machine has a hard steel plough blade that slips under the soil row. This plough gently lifts the entire layer of soil along the sweet potato tubers, avoiding cuts or scratches to the skin. While the conveyor moves, the vines are removed, and the sweet potato tubers continue moving upwards. Finally, the qualified tubers are delivered into containers for sale and processing.